Hi guys, Lone Vic here, and this is another video from the Honest Talk series where I'm giving my hopefully honest and a bit subjective opinion of different games that I own. Now please remember that this opinion is, well, pretty much my own. I do not get those games for free. I do not review them publishing. I buy them for my own money and I review them as my own experience allows me to. So today we are talking about this Mercado de Lisboa, a game from Vital Lacerda, which is his first game that's a totally lightweight Euro approach in comparison to his other titles. I think that a lot of you might know Lacerda from titles like Vinyosh or The Gallerist on Mars, or the probably Kanban EV as well, or the lowest in difficulty probably Escape Plan in this case, all published by Eagle Gryphon Games. And this, also published by Eagle Gryphon Games, is Lacerda's first approach, together with Julian Pombo, at creating a lightweight Euro game, like an introductory level game with very simple rules, simple mechanics, easy to learn, fast to play, and hopefully hard to master as well, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So I've played this game a few times. I've played a lot of Lacerda games in the past as well. I thoroughly enjoyed all of them and I have them in my collection. Let's start. I'll be talking about the good and the bad separately, and the okay things somewhere in the middle as well. So let's start and let's try to make it like within 10 minutes as with all my other review videos. So here we go. Let's start with the good. So Mercado de Lisboa is definitely fulfilling its promise, being a game that's very easy to teach and very easy to understand. The rule book, this is basically the rule book. It's what, 6 pages long, and 2 of those pages are for solo rules, so you can teach it to anyone in 5 minutes time, definitely. Tried it, been there, done that. Even a total layman when it comes to board games will understand those rules very quickly. There are 4 actions to do. One of them is kind of a filler action, so let's say 3 series actions to do, and they have all very simple rules and underlying conditions. There isn't a huge level of complication here, which is the assumption for this light Euro game, and it fulfills its role. So if you are looking for an introductory level game for anybody in order to get them into board games or something like that, then yes, Mercado de Lisboa will fill this need, definitely. Now the second thing is that, well, as obvious with Eagle Gryphon Games, you know, the publishing level is on very high quality. The insert in the box is well designed, it keeps everything together, and you know how everything fits, and the setup is easy thanks to that. The looks of the game on the table is, well, not great, but okay. I'm used to Lacerda's games looking quite more wow, but maybe because of the, you know, size and the huge complexity and the amount of the components. But I loved, for example, the board in Kanban EV in this new edition. It was a beautiful board. I loved the illustrations by Ian O'Toole and the whole setup of this. My favorite one is the Gallerist, definitely, when it comes to how it looks on the table and the presence and everything, but it's a huge game, right? Lisboa a bit too overcomplicated as a board, let's say. It was a bit too chaotically laid out in my opinion, but it was still a beautiful game to look at, definitely. This is half, at the most, half of the size of those games when it comes to space on the table, but it looks nice. You know, the view from the top onto the market and the very clear iconography that you have on those tiles, and the wooden meeples with your own stands. And the representation of the customers with those heads and those icons, everything is very concise, everything is very clear. You've got all the things that you need, and there is no room for doubt. So definitely this is a plus as well, but well, maybe not the most interesting one, but hey, we're talking about the good things, so let's say it, right? So the quality, aside from the rulebook, which is great when it comes to the simplicity and everything, the quality of the components and the looks of the game is great as well. Now, the shortness of playing time makes it a good filler game, even for a more advanced group, let's say. If you like those kind of games, like those, let's say, worker placement. It's not a worker placement, to be honest. We'll get to that later, but if you like those kind of Euro games and you need something lightweight for 20 minutes in order to, you know, not work too hard with your brain and relax between games of Twilight Imperium or whatever, then yeah, this game is a very good filler, because it very quick to set up, very quick to tear down, plays 20 minutes, you're done with it, and you can go on to something heavier. So even with a more dedicated board game group, this can find its place on the table if everybody's for it, definitely. The solo mode, it's there, and if you like puzzles, then I think that you might consider the solo mode for this game, but that is it for the positives. We'll get to the solo mode more in the negative side of things, let's say. Okay, so let's go to the bad things. Now, like I said, this is a subjective review, right? So those bad things that I'm going to be talking about, the negative opinion I have about this game, is only my own, and I'm an experienced board game player. I play serious Euro games, I play some Ameritrash, but I hate rolling dice because I've got bad luck with this. So, you know, I like games that are mid-heavy and heavier than that, probably. I also have a few lightweight games in my collection just to, you know, break the spell, let's say. For me, a lightweight game is Wingspan, for example. I bought this because I thought that, you know, this is Lacerda, and it's a lightweight Euro game, so it will be very... so I hoped that it would be a game that's easy to learn, that has easy rules, and it introduces people well into the world of Lacerda, right? A world where you have a ton of very complex interactions on the board, and there are a lot of dependencies between different areas and different actions, and where you have to plan ahead and calculate and figure out and block other opponents' actions and decide, you know, where to move and such. I love Lacerda games for that, mainly. So when I bought this and read the rules, I became a bit disappointed because it's simpler than I expected it to be. It's basically, when you play it, expect, and this is a negative for me, but it doesn't have to be a negative for everybody. Basically, when you play it, expect something like a game of checkers, but with additional rules. So you place your stand here, and then you block the space that your opponent wanted to place their stand for 2 consecutive turns because they didn't have any money, so they have to place theirs here, and somebody places a customer here and then a customer here, and the layout of the board changes, but it's so minuscule, this square that's 5 by 5, that it really ends very abruptly, and you have this feeling that you're just placing those checker pawns on the board and trying to, you know, to block spaces, and instead of taking out other checkers by jumping them, you just add customers which, you know, give you money, and that's it, because when you add 2 customers here, you close the row, and basically those stands are useless in this orientation, and you know, and it's like first come first serve basis. So there is planning to this, but it's not that attractive in my opinion. It's not this most attractive way of resolving this game. But you can, let's go back to the good sides, you can plan ahead here, and you can have, there is a bit of a tactic here when you think about which restaurant to collect from the board and where to place it, and then you place a restaurant and somebody places a stand near it, and then another person, because they for example also have, you have to watch what everybody has in their hand, what stalls do they have and want to place, and you have to adjust accordingly with your tactic. So there is something to it, but it's not an entry to Lacerda games. It's an entry to board games, to Euro games, but definitely not an entry to Lacerda. So if you played this with somebody for, let's say, a month, and then wanted to jump to Escape Plan or On Mars, no, right? It doesn't work. It's very disconnected from all his other mechanics. So that's one opinion that I have of this game that I got a bit disappointed by. And the other is that I thought that this would be a great solo game, but for me personally it doesn't work as a solo game at all, and I know that I won't be getting it out onto the table as a solo game. And why? You've got those 9 scenarios for a solo game, and I've played most of them, and you always want to get as many points as possible when you're playing, right? And here you get 8 tiles with stalls at the beginning of your solo game. You can collect new ones, and you have to adjust your tactic to the additional rules that you have in the solo scenarios and to the tiles that you have and everything. But there is always, or almost always, only one most efficient solution for every scenario. And if you don't draw the correct tiles, or the correct tiles don't appear later in the market, then you are completely, hopelessly devoid of an option to collect even close to the maximum of points. You can optimize to be as efficient as you can, and but sometimes luck comes into this game in such a way that is just a hopeless setup, right? And you can't collect a lot of points for, even if you tried very hard, because of this randomness factor here. And this is what I wasn't expecting from Lacerda games, because the randomness factor in his games, I love it about his games, is very, very incredibly low, close to 0. And here this randomness factor spoils this solo mode for me quite a lot. And even with the first scenario, where you can only operate with one type of shop that you decide at the beginning of the game, and you can't earn from any other kind of shop, it's, you get those 8 tiles and you have to decide right there and then that I'll be earning money from flower shops, and that's it for the rest of the game. And because you have 3 flower shops in your hand at the beginning, okay, cool. But what happens if you don't draw any more flower shops? And you can't really, predict, and well, then you're done, right? So the solo mode for me, well, not that cool. But then again, if you like puzzles, and if you're only interested in a puzzle with a solo game, then yeah, it might work as a puzzle. But if you are ambitious to get as many points as possible, if you're ambitious about efficiency, then it can get pretty annoying soon. Okay, so let's reiterate. So as not to say that I hate this game, because I don't. I don't love it. I'm kind of lukewarm about it, right? The publishing quality, the simplicity of the rules, the basic gameplay, and the area that it occupies on the table, the footprint on the table, the quick setup, the quick teardown, the short game time, the basically very quick and very tight interaction between players on the board. Those are all pluses. From the negative things, it's an introductory, very introductory level board game, but not a very introductory Lacerda game. So for me, this is a minus. And the second minus is that the solo mode introduces too much randomness in order and blocks being efficient quite efficiently? Effectively. Yeah, that's the word. So I wouldn't really recommend it for people who like playing solo games too much. I feel that the solo mode was like added as an afterthought in this case. And that's it. So this is my opinion, honest opinion about Mercado de Lisboa. If you agree with it, great, I'm very happy with it. If you don't, and well, I create those reviews not only to inform people but also maybe to instigate some discussion, you can write something in the comments, leave a comment under the video, click the like button if you liked the video, and subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified about new videos and so forth and so on. You know, it's one little click for you and it might help my channel quite a lot in due time. So, Mercado de Lisboa by Julian Pombo and Vital Lacerda, published by Eagle Gryphon Games. My name was Lone Vic, and stay safe, play board games, see you soon. Bye bye.